Welcome to Innovations and Breakthroughs with your host, Rich Goldstein, talking about the evolutionary, the revolutionary, the inspiration and the perspiration, and those aha moments that change everything. And now, here's your host, Rich Goldstein.
Rich Goldstein here, host of the Innovations and Breakthroughs podcast, where I feature top leaders and the path they took to create change. Past guests include Rick Cesari, Roland Frazier, and Thomas Shipley. This episode is brought to you by my company, Goldstein Patent Law, where we help you protect your ideas and products. We've advised and obtained patents for thousands of companies over the past 26 years. So if you're a company that has software, a product, or a design you want protected, go to goldsteinpatentlaw.com, where there are amazing free resources for learning about the patent process. And you can email my team at welcome@goldsteinpc.com to explore if it's a match to work together. You could also join me every Friday at 12 p.m. Eastern Time for office hours, where I answer all of your patent and trademark questions live. You can also check out the book I wrote for the American Bar Association that explains in plain English how patents work. It's called the ABA Consumer Guide to Obtaining a Patent. I have with me here today two people, Joe Fier and Matt Wolfe. They are the team behind the extremely popular podcast Hustle and Flowchart. These guys are all about marketing systems, and they're all about what actually works with regard to traffic, podcasting, brand, mindset, and more. They feature some of the best marketers out there on their show. I mean, just over the past month or so, on their program, they've had Roland Frazier, Steve Sketsis, John Rulin, and Ryan Moran. And in lots of other ways, including through their marketing agency, these guys really help entrepreneurs on a daily basis to do their best when it comes to marketing. It's my pleasure to welcome the Hustle and Flowchart team, Joe Fier and Matt Wolfe. Welcome, Joe and Matt.
Rich, hey, thanks for having us, man. That was a cool intro.
Yeah, my pleasure. I wrote that myself.
I know, because I think I forgot to respond to your email. I was looking at
you guys didn't send over bio, so I had to kind of make something
I totally flopped on that. I was like, oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, you're not alone.
I know.
I've written a fair number of intros for just that reason.
I trust you more than myself.
Yeah, and I'm sure you guys have as well, too, on your program.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm curious, how did you guys meet and how did you guys start working together?
So I'll kick it off. I'm like the broad strokes guy, as you know, but others will, and then Matt fills in the details. So I'll start. That's how we work. So we met way back, what was it, like 15, 16 years maybe ago. Through mutual friends in the band space. We were both in bands, rock bands. We were talking about Metallica right before this.
Yep.
we didn't do Metallica like stuff. It was more like Foo Fighters and, kind of a little bit more alternative, but
right.
Met some interesting folks. That's how we came across him. We basically started working together at his parents' company shortly after that. And from there, we got the bug to essentially start doing some online marketing through blogging initially. And then that figured out how to make money, a little bit of money that way. And then it kind of, the story progresses from that point on.
I just want to zoom back on you guys working together in your parents' company. So what were you guys doing? What was that first thing?
Our family business was a shutter company, like window covering shutters. And so I was the sort of factory manager. I ran the factory that built the shutters. Joe was kind of more like office manager. He ran the front office and all the people that answered the phones and that sort of thing. And I'm trying to remember how the details of exactly how we connected, but we sort of were mutual friends. We actually we shared a singer. Like one of his bands had a singer that was also in my band. Yeah. That was how we connected. Yeah. He was working at a shoe store, and my mom came into the shoe store, really liked his personality and his customer service, and said, "Hey, you should come be our customer service manager." And then brought him over. And I don't even think my mom.
So she basically said, "What a nice young man."
Yeah.
Basically, yeah. And I don't think
she knew Matt, but I don't know.
Yeah, I can't even remember if she knew that we knew each other or not at the time. But
this business exists because of your mom.
Yeah, pretty much.
Probably true.
And were you like, "Oh no, not him," or
that's not the friend I was talking about.
Yeah, I mean, by that point, I don't think Joe and I had known each other real well. Like we bumped into each other a few times, and we're acquainted. But it was like we didn't like really build a friendship until we were working at that company together.
Totally. Yeah.
Okay, got it.
But you asked about like what the actual, like what we were doing to kind of kickstart our online stuff. Yeah,
Yes.
as we were working. Yeah.
Mhm.
So what we would do, and I think Matt, you actually started first. So you were building websites for some clients, through their family, and so WordPress, all that stuff. He was scouring all the forums. And essentially, we kind of started just talking. I'd always be curious, like, what are you looking at on your computer over here? You seem to be hiding. This isn't like a normal factory stuff. Like, you're just like, get out of here. Like, I'm like, no. Tell me what you learn in here. I'm curious. So it was all the marketing, blogging stuff. And then from there,
then you finally showed him, and it wasn't porn. That you were
not safe for work.
Most
Matt.
of it wasn't. Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, you can say that now. Company's gone. But so we basically we had a health blog and a finance blog, and I took the health blog, finance blog was you. That's just our two interests, and at least at the time it was primarily, and we figured out how to monetize with Google Ads and some affiliate type offers back then. Ironically, it's still kind of not with Google Ads, but we make money in a similar fashion now with how we do our content.
The health site actually still exists too.
It does.
Oh wow,
it's very ugly.
so what was the aha moment where you monetized something, where something actually clicked and you said, like wow, this works? I mean, like what was the first like monetization strategy that actually kind of said we could really make money doing this?
I think it was AdSense stuff, wasn't it?
It was, but I'm thinking of something else. But you could talk. That's the more legitimate one, yes.
Yeah,
but there's one that connects to what he just asked.
We had, so when we first started our blog, I think we were sort of motivated by like the interaction we were getting. We had jobs. We weren't really doing this to make money when we first started them. So we were like motivated by like, ooh, people are commenting. People are actually reading what we wrote. And that was like our motivation in the beginning. And then at some point we decided, let's put some AdSense on here. We started making, some spare change off of AdSense. And then somebody approached us at one point. I think this is what Joe's referring to, but somebody approached us at one point and said, "Hey, your site's getting more popular. Can I pay you $50 a month for you to put a link in your sidebar to my website?" And we're like, "Sure."
That wasn't what I was thinking, but that's a good one. That actually was bringing in more cash than.
And then that actually surpassed the AdSense income. So what were you referring to?
I was thinking of the first affiliate offer, because right around that time we started thinking, okay, how else can we monetize this content? So we learned about these affiliate networks where you can look at all the offers and try to pair one up that connects to health or finance. So we found a health, it was from Gatorade or something. It wasn't even healthy, but like, it was like these new, some new product Gatorade was releasing. So they had a CPA offer. So you got paid, I think $50 or $30 if someone filled out, basically for free shipping, or they paid shipping.
It was a free trial thing.
Yeah. So if we had someone complete that form, we'd make about $30. We're like, well, we could probably do that. So we tried to do it, and it took like a week, and then we finally got a sale. And I was at my day job, corporate gig downtown San Diego.
He'd left the shutter company by this point.
Yeah, and I called Matt. I was like, dude, you don't even know what's going on. This is crazy. This is working. And then I called my wife.
$30.
Yeah, hey, it's like the first dollar in business.
It's so
thing.
exciting. It's funny. It's it's like, even like you talk about like AdSense or something. When you see like we made 25 cents, like it's just something so exciting about it.
Well,
right?
This one, my excitement kind of crushed a little. And this is the turn, and this is why I was laughing, is I called my wife, and she was kind of silent. And I was like, "Are you not excited?" And she's like, "I can't hold the secret. I can't keep a secret. I actually did that because I saw how hard you guys were working and how frustrated you were with this." And so it was a letdown, but at the same time, I was like, well, that just proved that it is possible, though, that if someone were to do that, I would get money.
But they have to like us.
Yeah, that was the hurdle. Yeah,
they have to like us, and then they'll click on our stuff.
That's our MO now. But yeah, we didn't know that at the time. So yeah, all that was true and got us, I think, motivated enough to really figure out how to do this thing.
Well, yeah, we sort of actually, after some of those things started to happen, we got to a point where I think the sites were making us like $200 a month, right? Like nothing that we could live off of, but we saw that it was making good money. And Joe and I, probably a stupid move at the time, went, okay, we figured out that we can make this work. And we both quit our jobs making $200 a month. Like we quit our jobs that were paying the bills because we saw this thing was making $200 a month. And we're like, we're going to go all in on this. If we could spend 8 hours a day focused on this, then we could probably make, several $1,000s a month. So let's just go all in on this. And we kind of at the time foolishly quit our jobs. It worked out in the long run, but looking back, it was like,
yeah, no, I didn't have
scary.
any real savings. My wife barely had she had a job, but I wasn't paying like a ton. So it was like, yeah, it was very naive in in retrospect, but it did work out.
Yeah. And what year was this approximately?
So we started our blog in 2007. We quit our day jobs in 2009.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Got it. Yeah. I mean, I in my present business, I don't do anything related to affiliate marketing, et cetera. But back in the day, I think in 2003, I caught the internet kind of, SEO, like, building websites for AdSense bug for a little while. And I built a website called Patent Law Books, and I put Amazon listings of all these different patent law books. And, I think I must have spent a couple $1,000s on the website, but it was so exciting to see that I made $12 in a quarter from like the 2% affiliate commission.
That's like the worst affiliate option.
I think that's about how much we still make from Amazon affiliate commissions to this day.
It just keeps going. Oh yeah. Yeah. That's actually, about $12 a month.
Yeah. But and I remember like back in the day like that, there were these different companies that would, give you lists of offers like the one you described, where it's like, okay, put this banner ad on your website, and then if you get a sale, you make $30, like you said.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and
there's so many different structures out there.
Yeah,
they're not all the same at all.
Yeah, I don't even remember what that company was called, but it was back in the day.
Yeah.
But so you took it from kind of having some enough success to get you excited about it. And to quit your jobs, like you say, maybe kind of foolishly in retrospect, but then you figured it out. You figured out how to make it work, how to find the magic that actually, let's say, beats the odds of just kind of saying, I'm going to put up a website and then I'm going to put, allow AdSense to put ads on my page, and I'll make a few dimes, quarters here and there.
So enough motivation to keep going. Yeah.
Yeah. So what was the moment where you really discovered that this could be a business that is sustainable?
I have an answer in mind, but
I was gonna say I think the answer is probably different for both of us. So go ahead, you start.
Well, yeah, and that's kind of the essence of what I got. Is I understood that I'm a people guy, and I like to kind of figure out. Like I'm a problem solver, and I'm curious to. Like I'm going to be resourceful enough to kind of solve someone's problem. So through some of these introductions or these networks that we had right when we started off, I got introductions to a bunch of people, did more client work in the video space. So I realized that's how I can kind of do my thing. That's how I really made money outside of, I kind of went away from the content thing. That's always been more like a Matt staple, I would say, because it's very systemized and whatnot. I took more of the client approach, the people approach, and then like solve their problem for, X thousands of bucks or whatever, a month. And then that held me good for like, I'd say 5-ish years right there.
Yeah. I mean, for me, so Joe and I, we both had these blogs and we were kind of running these blogs together. But then while these blogs were going and when we quit our jobs, we kind of went on separate paths for a little bit. We had our business together, but then we also had our sort of separate businesses that we were running at the time as well. And so for me, what I was doing was I went into this forum, and it was a forum for like a paid membership site, right? So everybody that was in there was like a paid customer of this guy's product. And I went into the forum, and one of the things he told people to do was set up a WordPress blog. Well, Joe and I had been blogging for a few years by that point. And so I went into this forum and said, hey, anybody in this forum who wants a WordPress blog, contact me. I'll set it up for you for $50. Right. And so I got like a handful of people come to me. They paid me about $50 each. And I went and installed WordPress and put 4 or 5 plugins on it and said, here you go. Here's your WordPress site. And then this guy, Josh Bartlett, who he's the founder of Thrivecart now, that's what he's sort of best known for. But at the time, he came to me and said, you're charging $50 a month and setting up these websites. Instead, why don't you make a handful of videos, show people how to set up WordPress themselves, and then sell this course? It's way more scalable than you going and installing a whole bunch of WordPress sites. And I went, oh, that's pretty smart. So I didn't know what I was doing. I think at the time I might have like set up a digital camera next to me and like pointed at the computer screen to make video tutorials kind of thing. Like I didn't know how to record my screen or anything. And so I was actually making tutorials on setting up WordPress And then I locked that down into a membership site, called it the WordPress Classroom. And I remember I went onto the forum, the same membership forum, and put a link in there saying, hey, I just made a whole bunch of tutorials. So if you want to set up your WordPress blog, here's a step-by-step process to go set it up. I'm only charging $10 for it. And I put that in the forum, went to bed, woke up the next day, and I had $200 in my PayPal account. About 20 people bought it from me. And that for me was like, okay, I could see a path to scaling this. And that led me down this path of creating info products for a little while.
Got it. Yeah, no, that's great. So basically, I think it sounds like the thing that made the difference is you had a core core or basic success on the technical side, but then Joe, you realize like we got to get people involved,
right,
to be successful. And Matt, you realize like we should teach and create info products. And so it sounds like that's what's evolved into your business model is you work with lots of people, you teach people, and you have products that let you teach lots of people, and that's kind of the core of your success, I think.
That you dissected that really well, I think. Yeah, because we've never really presented it in that way before, but you're right. And that's totally true to our personalities, where we like to be. Like I was on calls with people today, some of our partners we're collaborating with, whereas you were doing content stuff. I mean, that's every day, or advertising. That's also a Matt thing, like how to pay for traffic, but also make more from the content involved in that process. So and then the podcast, of course, is kind of a mashup of both of our brains and things. And now we just I feel like we're more of a sponge collectively now, and we know each other more, than ever before, but our filters are a lot higher now throughout the, 12 years or something of doing this, where a lot of input, we know what to just discard and what should stay in the sponge, even though sponges don't typically have a filter there, but it's interesting. Yeah. And the podcast is like a presentation of that.
Well, I feel like for a long time too, there was this thing where I was trying to pull Joe over to my world and Joe was trying to pull me over to his world. I was, there was some times where Joe was trying to make courses, because I was telling him, dude, you should be doing courses. This is where the money's at. And Joe was going, no, you should be running an agency and helping people do stuff. This is where the money's at. And we were kind of constantly pulling each other back and forth to our sort of specialties. And it's only been the last maybe 5 years that we decided, why don't I focus on my specialty? You focus on your specialty, and combined we can create something really big. And
light bulb.
Yeah.
Right. So you found an equilibrium between the push and the pull.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah. Damn it. Yeah. And so, Joe, you're talking about the filters. I think that's what it's all about, is that there's so much information out there, right? And there's so many different ideas out there. It's about filtering it. It's we all get tons of marketing ideas all the time. You should do this, you should do that type of campaign, whatever. It's about really selecting, and
it is. Yeah.
And Matt, when you create information products, I mean, people sometimes say why do I need your information product? All that information is available out there on the internet. Yes, it is, but I've selected the thing you should be paying attention to. That's when you're buying my info product, what you're paying for is for me pointing you to the thing that you ought to be paying attention to. There's information on all of this out there, but I've just said, here, spend the next few hours paying attention to these things and then do those things. That's why you're paying me.
Yep. I mean, that's really any good information product that exists should do that. It's going to save a ton of time, and yes, all the information you can find on podcasts, you can find on wherever, YouTube, for free. It's just okay, how much time do you want to spend? Do you actually want to be guided by someone who has done the work and
how
puts
do you
it in a good
it? Just the filter. The filter element comes there too. Is if I'm going and trying to figure out how to set up WordPress and I watch 30 different videos on YouTube and everyone tells me a different way to do it, and some of the people are successful, some of it's just so difficult to figure out okay, which of this information is important to me and which of it isn't. So by buying our courses, we basically become that filter for you, saying, all right, ignore all that stuff. This is, follow this flow.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. So you're the filter and you're also the hub, which I mean, as I understand it, your podcast really is the hub for everything that you do. It's kind of what brings people into your space. And then from there, you Some of those people you help in terms of like you train them or you offer them information that's helpful to their business, and other people you end up working with and collaborating.
That's right. Yeah, it's the hub is and when we kind of call it that hub, it's the entry point for a lot of folks into our world, basically, and they'll quickly realize, oh, these guys, we've been told at least, oh, they're pretty fun. They don't really like take themselves too seriously, but they're really good at what they do, or at least they know what they're talking about. Or we seem that way to people that know what they're talking about. We can hold.
I've been accused of the same thing. Like, he seems to know what he's talking about, but he doesn't take it too seriously.
That's a good thing, I think. Yeah. And we take that as the biggest compliment, because that's what we strive to do. We're just trying to be ourselves, but genuinely bring people together and do these filters. But that's from the podcast. We give them a lot of different ways to, I guess, go on the journey along with us. Like they can go get tools for their business. We'll recommend things. We're partners with a lot of them, and training courses, all that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. That's interesting too, in terms of collaboration. So you've managed to attract and start working with people that then help you create different tools. And I know, I've heard of a few of them. Like I know there's something you're doing called Unicorn Equity. Yeah. That tell me a bit about that.
Yeah, go.
So basically, what Unicorn Equity is so you've got affiliate marketers out there who are promoting products as affiliates, and they're getting a one-time commission every time they sell it. And then you've got product creators out there who need help with promotion, specifically SaaS founders. So software founders, they need help promoting, especially in the early stage. They don't know how to get affiliates. They don't know how to get traction. So basically what Unicorn Equity is it's a platform where affiliates can actually earn equity as an affiliate in the products that they're promoting. So if there's a new software product on the market, they could sign up with Unicorn Equity. They'll sort of earmark a certain percentage of equity in their business that they're willing to give up to Unicorn affiliates. And then the Unicorn affiliates can promote it, and they will get some of their payment will be in commissions. Some of their payments will be in the form of earning in equity into the businesses that they're promoting. So it's sort of the typical affiliate model, but we're allowing affiliates to earn sort of long-term wealth potential with the products that they're promoting.
Right. Kind of like the guy who painted Facebook offices back in the day, and he ended up with 40 million in stock options.
Right. Exactly.
When eventually they went public.
Exactly.
So that's what's possible with with Unicorn Equity, is you can get a little piece of something that becomes huge, right?
That's
exactly.
Yeah. And that's the big pain. And just to kind of preface that, because right now our biggest moneymaker for our business, our revenue generators, are affiliate offers and promotions. Like that's all the way from the back. When we started, that was the thing we wanted to originally do. That's where our biggest pain point was. It's all just very short term. Like you're just getting cash commissions now, but you're not necessarily growing that wealth with these companies. We're honestly building all these marketing sites around and assets online, but we're not paid as an owner, I guess, of that company. We always kind of want to be the marketing arm of any product that we really love, or even anything. Like we're just promoters. But our issue, and this is where Roland, our mutual friend, because he's the one that brought us in on this project, he was like, I think this is a smarter move, for people like you, promoters. There's a way to actually generate now a portfolio for the future and be kind of like a VC in a way, but you earn in through your efforts through marketing.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I guess in a similar vein, when you're talking about that kind of affiliate marketing or affiliate deals, that kind of leads you toward passive income. And I think you're doing something with Jay Abraham regarding passive income as well, right?
We are. Yeah, that's an interesting one. We got connected with Jay. That was through Roland again. Thank you, Roland. Got to give you a shout out there. We just basically we're working with those guys to, Jay and his team, which are amazing because he was one that we've been studying for years as this kind of lateral thinking brain. Again, Roland, we're in a mastermind with him locally in San Diego. So he kind of got us thinking, not just be a marketer, be a bigger thinker in business. And then you're just going to elevate yourself so much faster. So learning from Roland has been amazing. Yeah. But then you have, and it too, War Room and whatnot. But then Jay, you layer that with Roland, him, and then we mentioned Rich Sheffrin. So he's part of this this thing we're doing with Jay. We're helping him with some other stuff in the podcasting space. It's like, these are very strategic minds. Like if we could blend all these and like do that, that's essentially where we operate these days. But
yeah, so that specific course is called the Masters of Passive Income. And what it is it's Jay Abraham teaching how to generate passive income by making strategic deals. So the types of stuff that we're actually we've sort of leaned into in our business, where we're kind of networking, we're finding other businesses that need help, we're figuring out how to help them, and then also kind of figuring out ways to, get equity or rev share, that type of thing in exchange for the help. That's the type of stuff that Jay teaches. It's very sort of lateral thinking. You look at a business and you see the things that they're not seeing, and then figuring out how to fix them, but also by getting a piece of the business in the mix. And we specifically decided that now is the best time to launch this, because there are so many businesses in this sort of pandemic world that we're in right now that are really, really struggling, and they could use the help of marketers like us. So there's really no better time that we can remember to go and make some of these strategic deals and it's a win-win for everybody. You're helping keep these businesses alive, but in the process, you're creating cash flow for your own business. Mm-hmm. So the timing was a real factor of this. Is we wanted to put this out right now in this pandemic world and sort of open people's eyes to what Jay Abraham's been in our ear about for 10 years.
And he's been doing it for over 40 years. So it's kind of like, okay, so he's figured it out.
Yeah.
That's quite a great connection. And that's just typical Roland to see those opportunities. And isn't it funny how you just have to listen to like anything that Roland says, and at the very least, you're going to lie in bed thinking about it, saying like, maybe. I'll tell you, Roland named this podcast.
Did he?
I went to dinner with Roland at this incredible restaurant in Phoenix, like Cafe Europa, I think it was called. But I'm sitting with him, telling him I'm going to start a podcast, and I can't even remember what I told him I was going to do the podcast on. But he just said, "You should be doing a podcast called Innovations and Breakthroughs." Let me write that down.
Hold, please. Yeah. I always tell, we've been saying it a lot recently because we'll have calls, virtually with Roland now more than meetups. But if something's not recording, if Zoom's not recording like we're doing right now, I'll kind of be like, hold on, because I have a feeling he's just going to go and spurt out some genius. I'm not going to be able to keep my pen up fast enough. So that's now a thing. It's like record all meetings.
Let me get a backup recording in case this one.
Seriously though. Yeah. That's why it pains me when he calls and I'm like just scribbling notes. I'm like, God, no.
Wait, what? This is so sudden.
Right? Exactly. It's a good blessing. Yeah.
Absolutely. That's amazing. And I think the timing is great for the pandemic. And speaking of which, I saw you guys interviewed is my good friend Steven Sketsis on your show. Episode just came out a few days ago. I actually spoke at his event, Digital Marketers Australia, like right before everything shut down.
Like, he told us that was like I think it was in that interview. He was talking about that event.
Yeah, it was like it was kind of like like one of those scenes from the apocalypse movies where like we did it, and then like I'm running out of Australia and like the wave is chasing me.
I don't want to get stuck here.
Well, and we were at Podfest in March of this year, early March, and that was the last I think event. Was Steven's event right before then?
Yeah, that was right before in February. Okay. Exactly.
Yeah, so that makes sense then.
I remember being at Podfest, and Joe and I went back to our hotel room and we're like, I hope we don't get stuck here, because we were starting to hear rumors that they might start shutting down flights and stuff like that. We were really worried for maybe a day or so while we were out there that we may end up getting stuck out there.
Yeah, that was truly the last weekend when events happened. Like it was that same week. Like in other words, like Podfest ended on Sunday, but like that Thursday they were shutting down schools across the country and they were canceling events.
It was wild. I remember each night, we'd like go to the bar, hang out with some folks, and I'd always just glance at the TV. I'm like, that looks worse than yesterday.
Yeah.
That looks worse than they're doing what?
Yeah.
You know, like, so I was like, maybe we should rethink what we're doing here.
And then we actually went and met with Roland 2 days later, and he's like,
That's right.
TNC's happening, though. We're still going to make sure
Yep.
TNC happens. And then I think 2 days after that meeting, we got a message from Roland going, yeah, TNC's not happening.
Well, that's when they announced it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It just like everything developed so fast. I would not
Exactly.
want to be running those events, you know.
Yeah, they were determined, and
Yeah.
basically San Diego said nope,
Right.
not happening.
That's
And I
exactly
think
what
that's
happened.
kind of what happened. I was supposed to between March and May, I had I think 8 or 9 trips.
Wow.
Uh,
Wow.
I was going to be in Las Vegas 3 times, Los Angeles twice, Hong Kong, South Korea, London, you know, and just all of that just went out the window.
My
You
gosh.
know,
Well, hopefully you're able to
well-laid
get some credits
plans.
and yeah.
Yeah, I have so many like travel certificates on United. Right?
I bet we didn't have anything else booked. I mean, I just had a baby, so I was just like, I'm not. This was my year to kind of chill out anyway. So
Yeah.
luckily,
Yeah,
kinda
yeah. I mean,
worked out.
I have to say it's been great being at home. I
Yeah.
unexpected. I mean, I hadn't been home probably for more than 5 weeks in years.
Whoa.
So you know,
So it's a good break for you. It's a little
it's,
reset.
yeah,
then.
it's been really great, and
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. So I guess let's just talk a little bit more about the type of stuff that you guys teach through like your website. When someone goes to comes from the podcast and they go to, is it hustleandflowchart.com? Is that basically where you
That'll
direct
get
them?
you to the podcast. Yeah.
Mhm.
We have a little conflict with the brand, but like our current business is called Evergreen Profits. .com is the website. The podcast is housed there as well. But you'll see that's originally was the blog for all the content marketing we were doing before the podcast kind of really took over, because it really did in our business. It
Mhm.
kind of created a bigger brand than the company that we were really trying really hard to grow, which was Evergreen Profits. That was the agency days and all that. So yeah, you go there and you kind of start to go down the rabbit hole. You can join our email list, and that's kind of like the way that we get people on there is through companions, these notes that we take on every podcast episode. And that's the the condensed cliff notes of the whatever episode, let's say with Roland, and then we ask them for their email in exchange, and then that kind of sets off the journey there, I'd say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
So in terms of setting off the journey, I mean, like you guys have developed systems to the nth degree of taking that interest and then giving them all kinds of opportunities to stay engaged with you and to re-engage with them, et cetera, right?
Yeah. So basically, when somebody listens to our podcast, they go to our site. Our sort of lead magnet, the thing they're opting in for is the notes. But then after they get the notes, we actually have a physical printed newsletter that you can get monthly, and that's sort of our upsell beyond the notes, right? So you can get these notes, and it's the same notes that you get for free when you opt in. We're just packaging them up into essentially a book every month. We're adding some additional insights and information directly from us at the end of the notes, and then we're mailing them out to people. So that's kind of like the first way they could get in. But then we also use our podcast as sort of a segmentation tool. So if somebody came to one of our podcasts where we're talking about Facebook advertising and they listen to that, well, then we're going to actually pixel them in as somebody that's interested in Facebook advertising. And now when you go on Facebook, you might see an ad from us that's focused around Facebook advertising. We're going to tag you on our email list of this person's interested in Facebook advertising. So you might see a handful of emails from us about Facebook advertising specifically. And we do that with pretty much every sort of topic that we get into in our show. Is we'll have specific offers and sort of different journeys that they could go down based on the things they've shown interest in.
And ladies and gentlemen, that's what you call optimizing your campaigns.
That's true. That's why this is all Matt right here. Like this is I think our mad genius is when both of our brains are on this wavelength to like, okay, we want to do this, but we want to make it different. We want to make it our own. And it's typically like we'll just mastermind, and then he'll go away and like mind map this crazy chart with like all these, and then we'll kind of then get crazy again and look at that map and like, okay, what if we also did this thing and added this other thing, and essentially, yeah, that's
right.
That's how
So
we
it's like
everything.
Crazy lead segmentation. Like
Yes.
you're segmenting people in all kinds of different directions to give them what they ought to be getting, rather than cookie cutter.
Yeah, I mean, Joe and I, we've always sort of been in our own heads about the fact that we're kind of generalists. You know, we're into marketing and entrepreneurship, but those are very broad topics.
Right.
So we're kind of generalists within those topics. We'll talk about mindset. We'll talk about advertising. We'll talk about SEO. We'll talk about email marketing. We'll talk about health and fitness and lifestyle design and biohacking. And there's just so many things that we enjoy talking about. I don't necessarily feel like we need to force everybody who discovers us to have the exact same interests.
Right.
So instead, come see what interests you. And if we find something that interests you, we'll send you more of that stuff. And then what ends up happening is eventually I think we bring them over and then their interests start to expand with our own. But in the beginning, we try to stay very targeted on what they came for.
Yep. No, that's really awesome. And so if people want to find out more about you or learn more about you or get in touch with you, what's the best way for them to go about doing that?
I would say hustleandflowchart.com will get you to the podcast. Does that take them to the website?
Yeah.
Yes. So hustleandflowchart.com is great. And if you want to interact with us or see our community and all that, flowchartgroup.com. It's just a Facebook group, but we just made a little nice redirect. Flowchartgroup.com, and that gets you kind of into our world, so you can kind of just like dive straight into it and experience it.
That's really awesome. I think,
thank you.
and in your world is a great place to be if you're an entrepreneur and someone who's looking to figure out the best way to engage with your customers. And
we have a lot of lawyers over there too. A lot of people that do law, surprisingly, they kind of flock to our weird ways. So I mean, we all.
Most lawyers are pretty lost when it comes to marketing.
Yeah,
I have to say. And I used to run different, let's say, committees and events that were about leadership, marketing, and sales for lawyers. I mean, lawyers in general don't know how to do that stuff that kind of crosses over into marketing messages or like discovering the needs and serving those needs and creating a message that speaks with your audience. So yeah, I mean, I imagine a lot of lawyers kind of come knocking on your door hungry.
They're usually some of the most fun people, though. It's just, I mean, Roland's
sometimes.
one of them too, you know. Sometimes, can't do blanket statements.
Yeah, you know, we have our moments, but
It's all good.
But this was really awesome. I appreciate you guys being here, and hopefully you guys can come back again and we can talk about some other marketing stuff.
Yeah, anytime.
This is fun, Rich. Thanks for having us.
Thanks for listening to Innovations and Breakthroughs with your host, Rich Goldstein. Be sure to click subscribe, check us out on the web at innovationsandbreakthroughs.com, and we'll see you next time.